welcome back to Ad America TV. But for those of you joining us for the first time, welcome to Ad America TV for the first time. Ad America is the U.S. Embassy's American Center, and our mission is to provide a space for young Indonesians to learn more about the United States. Usually, here in Indonesia, Eid holidays are identical with family vacations. But because of the pandemic, most people are staying home this year. But don't worry, because we're going to invite you guys to travel the world with us.
Hello, my name is Eric Hansen. I'm a filmmaker and educator based in Los Angeles, California. In 2018, I was a visitor to Indonesia as part of the American Film Showcase. And I understand Ramadan is a time of thanks, and I would like to extend my thanks to all the wonderful Indonesians that hosted me so graciously on my visit. And as a token of that, I would like to share with you some of the virtual reality and photography that I've done in your country. So again, thank you so much. Bye-bye.
So Jasmine, we just flew all the way from Arizona to Utah in about 3 seconds, all thanks to this Blue Planet virtual reality software.
It's almost like we're teleporting into places. I don't even have to pack and unpack my stuff to travel to these places.
This experience seems so realistic. I personally have never seen something like this before in terms of depth and sheer quality. It's fully realistic and not just 360-degree photos.
That's pretty neat, I gotta say. So anywho, which canyon are we visiting now, Maya?
Right now we are visiting Bryce Canyon in the state of Utah. Let's take a look.
Welcome to Utah's otherworldly red rock landscape carved by powerful geologic forces and the endless march of time. Perched on the edge of Utah's soaring Pansawunt Plateau and 4 hours northeast of Las Vegas is Bryce Canyon National Park, an ever-changing landscape of soaring pinnacles, bottomless chasms, lofty woodlands, and forests of stone.
This one has quite a lot of hoodoos. Was this place ever inhabited by humans?
It was actually, but do you know that despite its name, Bryce Canyon is technically not a canyon?
Despite its name, this wild panorama of sand, stone, and sky is not a canyon. It is a collection of natural amphitheaters forged by colossal movements of the Earth's crust 16 million years ago. Ever since, the unrelenting forces of water, wind, and frost have carved the fins, hollows, and hoodoos that punctuate this otherworldly wilderness. The plateau has long sustained human habitation, with many Native American tribes hunting and gathering here throughout millennia, most recently the Southern Paiute.
That's quite mind-blowing, huh?
Yeah, that really is. I wonder how the park got its name.
Good question. The park's name comes from a Mormon settler, Ebenezer Bryce, who began ranching in the area in 1870. The geological labyrinth proved problematic for the cattlemen, and Ebenezer soon relocated, famously declaring that the amphitheater was a hell of a place to lose a cow.
So this canyonland is named after a person, just what I thought. But if we ever get the chance to visit Utah, how do we get to the Bryce Canyon?
Most travelers start their journey at Old Bryce Town to stock up on provisions and feel the spirit of the Old West. Head into the heart of the park and stop by the visitor center to get all your information about Bryce Canyon, from maps and itinerary planners to road and weather condition updates. From there, follow the Bryce Canyon Scenic Drive, which runs the length of the park. As most trailheads and overlooks are on the road's eastern side, many travelers drive to the southernmost point first, to avoid crossing traffic at every stop on the return journey. Cruise along at your own pace by car, or climb aboard the regular shuttle bus that runs throughout the summer season. Park your car at Rainbow Point, and from the lookout, cast your gaze at the dramatic landscape stretching out before you.
Wow, Even the view is breathtaking from the parking lot. So what should we expect once we get there? What should we do first?
Let's find out.
Be immersed in the fresh scent of spruce and fir as you follow the Bristol Cone loop to your Vimpa Point, the highest viewpoint in the park. From there, the grand staircase stretches out before you, continuing all the way to the border of Arizona and on clear days to the edge of Grand Canyon National Park. After beginning your return journey north, take in most spectacular views at Black Birch Canyon, where the earth below plummets into a narrow ravine bordered by sandstone fins and eroded rock pillars known as hoodoos. Each viewpoint along the scenic drive provides a new and spectacular perspective of the park's ethereal landscape. Continue north to Ponderosa and Agua Canyons, where even more gargantuan statues sculpted by the hands of time await.
All those hoodoos look eerie beautiful to me. I wonder what's the story behind them.
There's actually a legend behind those hoodoos, Jasmine. According to Southern Paiute legend, a race of selfish, disrespectful creatures once lived in the canyon. Fed up, the trickster god Coyote turned them all into a stone, and their petrified bodies become the eerie hoodoos at the adorn these amphitheaters.
Hearing your story makes me want to start this hike already. Do you have any recommended routes or spots that are a must-see?
Now this is my favorite part. What to see in Bryce Canyon. The plateau is an ever-changing canvas, and Mother Nature's work is never complete. Even the most monolithic formations are vulnerable to her unrelenting hands. At Natural Bridge, gaze down through the arch once a solid wall of rock slowly eroded away by the hands of time. A further 5 minutes north, at aptly named Farview Point, take in the soaring panoramas of Bryce Canyon and Grand Staircase National Monument. Then, follow the short trail to Piracy Point for even more sweeping vistas. A little further north, stand on the lip of the park's namesake Bryce Canyon, a spectacular 6-square-mile amphitheater. There are multiple viewpoints along its edge which are accessible by car or shuttle, or by hiking all parts of the epic 11-mile rim trail. At Bryce Point, cast your gaze down at the labyrinth of orange glowing drip castles and west towards the canyon's wall of windows. Then, follow the rim trail through ancient bristlecone and ponderosa pines before emerging at the sheer cliff face of Inspiration Point. Continue along the rim trail or drive to Sunset Point and stare off the edge of a sea of jagged crimson spires. From Sunset Point, the iconic Navajo Loop Trail descends through towering fins and pinnacles into the amphitheater. Weave your way down through the soaring corridor of Wall Street and then past an unstirring huddle of hoodoos known as the Silent City. If you've got the time, extend your hike on the Queen's Garden Trail. Wander through mystical passageways into a cluster of hoodoos, where a formation bearing an uncanny likeness to the British Queen Victoria presides over her garden of stone. Then, begin your ascent up to Sunrise Point on the rim trail. If you choose not to hike down into the amphitheater, follow the paved stretch of the rim trail from Sunset Point to Sunrise Point. This section of trail is wheelchair and stroller friendly and offers some of the most awe-inspiring views of Bryce Canyon. This is a place whose glorious scale will make you feel small, and there is something truly humbling and liberating about that.
I agree, because as we gaze out to this ever-changing campus of sunset-colored spires, coral fins, and terracotta cliff faces, we will take in the work of hundreds of millions of years in a single glance.
Let's hop on to the next canyon nearby, Jasmine. And now we are at Hades Pit here in Vernal, Utah.
What is Hades Pit?
That's what people call Fantasy Canyon.
Why is it called Hades Pit?
It is because the site was officially documented by early explorer and paleontologist Earl Douglas, who recorded the area by other names such as the Devil's Playground and Hades Pit. He published photographs of the area in 1909 publication called the Columbian Magazine.
But why did Mr. Douglas call the canyon Hades Pit?
It's because the canyon contains widely scattered bones, mostly mammals, which roamed the basin during the Eocene age. Fossilized turtle shells were visible in the area. Since then, people often refer the Fantasy Canyon as Hades Pit.
Fantasy Canyon is about an hour south of Vernal, Utah, and is a small but unique area consisting of grayish-brown sandstone. Most of the main erosion direction is horizontal and resembles irregular stacked planks, bones, or thin pinnacles. Keep in mind that these formations are extremely fragile. Don't break off pieces or take them home. Most of the formation occur on the north side of the mesa, centered along a narrow ravine, only 200 feet long and up to 20 feet deep. Exploring this area is really interesting and fun, but it is rather small. Even though the area is only about 10 acres in size, it contains some of the most unusual geologic features in the world. The rocks of Fantasy Canyon, Quartzose sandstones, were deposited during the Eocene epoch. They date from around 38 to 50 million years ago. During this geologic period, the Uinta Basin was occupied by a large lake called Lake Uinta. Fantasy Canyon is along the east shore of what was once Lake Uinta, where the sediments eroded from the surrounding highlands. Sediments were deposited and the once loose sand, silts, and clays were forged into sandstone and shale. Because of different rates of weathering, the more durable sandstone remained while the more easily weathered siltstones and shale washed away, yielding this spectacular scenery. Today's geologic formation of Fantasy Canyons will eventually give way to weather and then topple and erode into sand, but new formations will appear as the topsoil washed away. Because the delicate formations are so fragile, the area is referred to as nature's China shop.
How do we get to Fantasy Canyon?
From Vernal, take US Route 40 until it curves southeast and then turns right on Utah State Route 45. After crossing the Green River, travel about 13 miles and then turn right onto Glen Branch Road. Then BLM signs for Fantasy Canyon begin there.
Are we allowed to camp around the area?
Yes, camping is allowed and free right in the parking area. There are there are a few picnic tables as well. There's a plenty of flat areas for tents, and RVs and vans can easily make their drive as well. And for your information, there isn't really a trail, so this is more of an explore your own area. Exploring Fantasy Canyon will take an hour maximum.
So since the area is rather small compared to other canyons, can I just assume that the area is safe for kids and dogs?
Yes, since it is a small roadside attraction, it is safe for kids and also dogs even if you take your dog off leash so it can run free.
Speaking of camping, I want to show you one other canyon that we can camp in.
Let's go! Where are you taking me now, Jasmine?
Now we're at the Red Rock Canyon, Las Vegas, Nevada.
Red Rock Canyon National Conservation Area is located on the west edge of the Las Vegas Valley and includes the red and white sandstone cliffs that can be seen from most places in town. The scenery is spectacular and always worth a visit. The sandstone cliffs lie up against the Spring Mountains, and as the name implies, there are many springs out there. Many of the hikes lead up narrow canyons to creeks and waterfalls, which during summer give a nice respite from the heat. And during winter, full sun hikes can be warm and delightful. Red Rock Canyon National Conservation Area is around 197,000 acres, but many locals refer to the scenic loop area as Red Rocks. When locals say that they are going to the Red Rocks, they usually mean that they are going to the scenic loop area. which is only a small portion of the National Conservation Area. Red Rock Canyon is a conservation area under the Bureau of Land Management, and that means if you have a National Parks Pass, you can use it here. And if you don't, the day pass for your vehicle is $15. And if you want to enter with your bike, you only charge $5. And look at what you get. Less than 20 miles west of Las Vegas, here are more than 195,000 acres of gorgeous Mojave Desert ready to be explored.
Alright, let's go do some discovering. First thing first, how do I get there if I'm driving?
Okay, Red Rock Canyon is located on the west edge of the Las Vegas Valley, which is about 30 minutes from downtown. From downtown, drive out to the intersection of West Charleston Boulevard and the Western Beltway. From the intersection, drive west on West Charleston for 5.3 miles to Scenic Loop Road. Turn right onto Scenic Loop Road and drive to the entrance station. Pay the entrance fee and proceed to the visitor center, which you can see from the entrance station.
Well, you mentioned earlier that this is one of the canyons that we can camp in. Is that true? And how can we do that?
Backpacking and overnight permits can be arranged at the visitor center, but backcountry camping is only permitted above about 5,000 feet elevation. Wood fires are illegal. There is one drive-in campground, Red Rock Campground, formerly Moenkopi Campground, which is located off Charleston Boulevard about halfway between the Beltway, Highway 215, and the entrance to the Scenic Loop Road. Driving west on Charleston, turn left onto Moenkopi Road and drive south to the end of the road. You can see the campground from atop a hill before you get to the end of the road. The campground usually is closed during summer. Nightly costs here are $20 for individual campsites, $10 for walk-in campsites, and $60 for group campsites. Other than the standard warning about hiking in the desert, this is a pretty safe place. But people fall off the cliffs and die at Red Rocks every year. Extreme cautions should be exercised anytime you are high enough to fall and get hurt. Red Rocks is a wintertime mecca for technical rock climbers. But don't let watching these experts goad you into doing something you shouldn't. Also, the Scenic Loop Road is popular with walkers, bicyclists, and high-performance motorcycles, so drive carefully and look both ways before crossing the road.
I can't wait to go on a camping trip to the Red Rock Canyon. I want to bring home some rocks I find along the trip.
Whoa, easy there, young lady. We're not supposed to bring home anything from the canyon other than the stuff we buy from the gift shop. As the name implies, this is a conservation area. We're not allowed to collect plants, rocks, fossils, or artifacts, and do not disturb the wildlife or feed the burros. Drive only on roads. Pack it in, pack it out. Get permits for backcountry camping at the visitor center. Backpackers can cook with stoves, but collecting wood, including dead or downed wood, is prohibited. Pets must be on a leash, 6 foot maximum, and under physical control at all times. Never leave your pet in a closed vehicle because temperatures inside a car parked in the sun can exceed 120 degrees in just a few minutes. Ditto for kids in cars.
Thank you for the heads up, Jasmine. You just saved me from future embarrassment. Hey, I want to take you to do some more exploring.
Lead the way, Maya! We still have many more virtual adventures with Blue Planet to come. So don't forget to follow us on our social media on our Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram at AT America so you don't miss out. All right, fellas, I'll see you at the next adventure.